Good morning, students. Do you had breakfast? Okay, so you all are energetic, right? You don't skip breakfast. If you skip breakfast, you won't get concentration to listen to the class. So, can we start? Okay, do you like physics? Yes, physics is a very interesting subject, right? And everything which is happening around us is related to physics in some ways, right? So, today's topic we will start on the basis of this. And you all have noticed that during dry weather, the dress made of silk, for example sweater, etc., make a sparking or a cracking sound when we take that, right? This same thing happen with the polyester cloth also, which women use this cloth as a sari, and in some other materials women use this kind of polyester dresses. So this also make this cracking sound. And we also have seen that during rainy season, when thunderstorm happen, there is an electric discharge which we can see. What is that? Yes, it is lightning. So, these all are the phenomena which is happening around us. Do you know why this happened? Have you ever thought of this? We have also learned that about charges, right? And we have learned about static charge in our previous classes, right? So, this is due to this static charge. And what is a static charge? Or what is static electricity? That is which cannot move or changes with time, right? So, today's topic is, today's unit is electrostatic. It is related to static electricity. Electrostatics is the study of field, forces and potential that came under this static electricity. Now, we all have learned about electric charge, right? What is an electric charge? What is an electric charge? It is the property of matter which produces an electric and magnetic effect. It is the basic property of matter, right? And it is due to the property of electron and proton which produces this electric and magnetic effect. And the unit, that is the SI unit of electric charge, is coulomb. And it is denoted by the letter C. So, at first, we have learned that there are two kinds of charge. Which all are they? We have learned about like charges and unlike charges. Then, while we learned static electricity also, we have done several experiments in home and in class, right? We took a scale, then rub the scale in our hair. Then when it is made close to some paper piece, what we see? It attracts the paper piece. This is due to static electricity. And in your textbook also, you can see several experiments that they have performed and that we can perform in our home. I'll explain one of that from your textbook. What was that? They took two glass rods and rubbed it with a silk or wool. Then this glass rod get a charge. They took another glass rod and rubbed it with the same silk and wool cloth. Then that glass rod also get a charge. So both this glass rod will be having same charge, right? So one glass rod is here and another glass rod is here, and it is rubbed with the silk or wool. So if this get one charge, we use same silk here and same type of glass rod here. So this will be also having that same charge. So when we brought this glass rod together, what happened? What happened? It will repel, right? Now we take another plastic rod, two plastic rod of same type, and we again rubbed it with silk or wool. That is same kind of material. Then this will produce one kind of charge and this will produce same kind of charge. Then when we brought it close together, what happened? It will again repel. But instead of this, if we are taking one plastic rod and other glass rod, this is having different charges, then what happened? It will attract each other, right? So we have already learned that what like charges repel and unlike charges attract. This same happened with the pickball experiment that is seen in your textbook. But after some times, it was noted that when we kept this for some time, this type of substances does not show this kind of attracting and repelling property. So we must have to differentiate charges into some other type of forms. So because of this, a scientist named Benjamin Franklin classified the charges into positive charge and negative charge. So now we have learned at first charges were classified into like and unlike. Then it was classified into positive and negative. And you must also note the point that difference in property of this positive and negative charge is due to the polarity of the charge. This also you must keep in mind. So we must now understand that charges are classified into like and unlike, and later it was classified into positive and negative charge. Then the difference in property is due to what? It is due to the polarity. Now I'll explain about certain other thing, that is frictional electricity. As the name suggests, the electricity produced due to friction is called frictional electricity. Now we have done several experiments in which we rub two substances together, right? When we rub two substances, what happens? Friction arises, right? And in a material, when we rub two bodies together, electron flow takes place from one body to another body, and the body which loses electron will become positive charge, and the body which gain electron will become negative charge, and the electron lost by a body will be equal to the electron gained by other body. Now you understand what is frictional electricity and how these bodies get positive and negative charge. Right. Now, look at some other point, that is grounding or earthing. That is, if a charged body gets in contact with the earth, the excess charge in that body will flow towards earth through conductor. I have already said to you that human body is what? It's a conductor of electricity. So, in household electrification also we have learned that in our 10th standard, in household electrification there will be 3 lines, right? Phase line, neutral line and earth line. This earth line is to flow electric charge to the earth. So, this process is earthing, and this earthing will help us to avoid shocks or sparks in household electrification. So, I hope you understand what is grounding and or earthing. Now, we can learn about the basic properties of electric charge. Basic properties of electric charge. Okay, so at first we have learned that what like charges repel and unlike charges attract. This we have already learned. Second one is charge is a scalar quantity. We all have learned about scalar quantity and vector quantity, right? Scalar quantity having only magnitude. Vector quantity have both magnitude and direction. So, charge is a scalar quantity. Next is charge is relativistically invariant. That means charge does not changes according to speed. Next we will learn about additive property. Charge is having additive property. That is, the total charge in the system will be the sum of its individual charges. Let Q be the total charge, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q etc. Qn be the individual charge. Then the total charge in the system will be Q equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 etc. up to Qn. Next we can say, next property of charge is quantized. What is that? Charge is quantized means the total charge in an isolated system will be the integral multiple of its basic unit charge. Let Q be the total charge in an isolated system. Then it will be the integral multiple of its basic unit charge. And E is the basic unit charge. N will be 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, etc. Now, the last property is that charge is conserved. That is, charge can neither be created nor be destroyed, but charge particles can be created. Charge particles is created by nature itself. So, for example, electron can be converted into proton, proton will be converted into electron, but the same positive charge and this negative charge will cancel each other and the total charge will be always constant. But we have seen that when in the case of two glass rod, we are not creating charge there, but the charge particles are transferred from one body to another body. Now, I think you understand the basic property of electric charge, right? Okay. Now, we can move on to the important portion in this chapter. That is the Coulomb's law. According to this law, the force of interaction between two point charges is directly proportional to the product of their magnitude and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. That is, let F be the force of interaction between two point charges and Q1 and Q2 be the 2 point charges, then R be the distance between them. Then we can write it as F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square. So, this is the mathematical formula of Coulomb's law, mathematical form of Coulomb's law, and here the K is the electrostatic force constant. K equal to electrostatic force constant, and its value will change according to medium we use or the system we use. In CGS system, K equal to 1. In SI system, K equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, where this epsilon 0 is the electrical permittivity. And the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square Coulomb raised to minus 1. And the value of epsilon 0 in vacuum is 8.854 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton raised to minus 1 Coulomb raised to minus 2. Oh no, sorry. Coulomb square Newton raised to minus 1 meter raised to minus 2. So, now we can write this force of interaction between two charged body is F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. So, this is Coulomb's law. Now, we can learn another term, that is the relative permittivity or dielectric constant. Relative permittivity or dielectric constant. If we take the force of interaction between two point charges in a medium, we can write it as F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, where epsilon is the electrical permittivity in medium, which is Q1 Q2 by R square. Then force of interaction between the same charges in a free space, we can write it as F0 equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. Then take this equation as 1 and this equation as 2. Then when 2 divided by 1, we get F0 by F equal to, cancelling the similar terms, we will get epsilon by epsilon 0, that is equal to epsilon R or capital K. This epsilon R or capital K is called the relative permittivity or dielectric constant, and we can define it as the ratio of electrical permittivity in medium by the ratio of electrical permittivity in free space. Now we can learn about Coulomb's law in vector form. Let 2 point charges be Q1 and Q2 separated by the distance R. Then we can write the force of interaction of charge Q2 due to Q1. Force of interaction of charge Q2 due to Q1 can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square into R12 cap. This is the R12 can be written as it is the unit vector of Q1 to Q2. It can be written as by R. Substituting this equation in here, we get 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R cube, because here R square into R, that is R cube, into, like this way we will get. Now F12 is the force of interaction of charge Q1 due to Q2. This can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square into R21 cap. This also we can be written as 1 by, similar to this, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R cube into R21. Now as R21 equal to minus R12, we can write what? F21 equal to minus F12. So from this it is clear that Coulomb's law obeys with Newton's third law. Now I understand. Now I hope you understand what is Coulomb's law and its vector form, permittivity, electrical permittivity, relative permittivity, etc. Right? Now can I wrap this? Okay. Now we'll move on to the last topic we are discussing today, that is the limitation of Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is having several limitations. At first, the limitation of Coulomb's law is electric charge must be rest. That is why we take static charge, right? So electric charge must be rest. Next one is, it is possible only for point charges. Next is, the separation between two charges should not be less than nuclear size. Because why you know? If it is less than the nuclear size, the strong nuclear force will opposes what? Will be greater than that of this electrostatic force. So, Coulomb's law is having this much limitation. Now, I am winding up class now. So, today you understand what is static electricity, electric charges, fractional electricity, grounding, earthing, property of charges, and Coulomb's law. Most important thing we have learned is Coulomb's law. So, you must learn up to this much when we come on the next class. Is there any doubt? Okay, then thank you and have a nice day.